State of Texas versus Catherine
State of
Welch.
Texas versus
Catherine Welch. Ma'am, are you Catherine
And Ms.
Welch?
Welch is here with her attorney, Mr.
And Ms.
Gertz.
Welch is
State's
here with
attorney's
her attorney,
present.
Mr. Gertz. State's
Ms. Welch
attorney
was
is
previously
present.
in court.
Ms. Welch
Entered
was
a
previously
plea
in
of
court.
guilty
Entered a plea of guilty to driving while intoxicated third or more, as well as a prior offense, which made it a second-degree felony offense. There was no agreement with regard to punishment. I have received the pre-sentence report.
Has everyone had an opportunity to review
And
that
has
report?
everyone had an opportunity to review that report?
Are there any additions or corrections to that report?
Are there any additions or corrections to that report?
Nothing to state other than I want to acknowledge I have received Mr. Gertz's.
I'm going to get to that too in just a second.
Any additions or corrections?
Any additions or corrections?
Aside from the one comment that I'm making in the sentencing memoranda about a comment that she made about rehabilitation, I think it's more of a clarification, so I'm happy to touch on that. But other than that, we don't have any additions.
And Ms. Smallfino has already stated as
Ms.
well
Smallfino has already
as
stated as well as I received the sentencing memorandum at 5:47 p.m.
Going to point that out for the record.
Going to point that out for the record.
The Harris County judge got her sentencing
Well,
memoranda at midnight.
It was reviewed
Well,
quite early this morning.
It was
but I did
reviewed
review it.
quite early
Ms.
this
Smallfino,
morning, but
you've
I
had
did
time to
review
it
it.
as
Ms.
well.
Smallfino, you've had time to review it
Okay.
as well. Okay.
Other than that, I think
you all should have
There's only a few, but
a
there were
couple.
some
There's
jail
only a
incident
few, but there
reports
were
that should have
some
been,
jail incident
provided to
reports
counsel.
that
Did you
should have
both
been
receive those as
provided
well?
to counsel. Did you both receive those as
Okay,
well?
is everyone ready to proceed with sentencing?
Okay,
then?
is everyone ready to proceed with sentencing then?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Gertz, do you have witnesses?
All right,
I'm
Mr.
not gonna
Gertz, do you have
call in live
witnesses?
I'm not going to call in live witnesses unless the court requires it. We have a person present from the Dream Center. If the court wants to inquire about that, I would essentially like if you want to come up and have that conversation, if you want to
Okay.
have that conversation. But, you know,
Okay.
I think here is going to be our focus. Here is going to be on the topics that we talk about in or write about in the sentencing memo. You're just sort of allowing, and if the court decides to do what if the court decides to do what we're asking you to, we are open and welcome to
Sure.
whatever the court requires of her
Sure.
to enter and successfully complete. We just wanted you to have that option on the table as well. It's an option that doesn't cost the
Right.
court anything.
And for the record, I'm
Right.
aware of
And for the
Dream
record, I'm
Center,
aware
and
of the Dream
program
Center
and what they
and
do,
their
and so if I have
program
any
and what they
specific
do.
questions,
And
if we
so
get
if I
to,
have any
something
specific
where I would
questions,
need
if we
that,
get
then
to
I appreciate
something
them
where I
being
would
here and I'll
need
ask
that,
those
then I
questions.
appreciate them being here and I'll
Ms.
ask those
Malfino,
questions.
does the state have any witnesses?
Ms. Malfino, does the state have any
All right, then,
witnesses?
Argument.
All right, then,
Judge,
argument.
Judge, I want to. I recognize this is a unique. This is a unique case and a unique ask. This is not something small that we're asking. This is not something small that we're asking. I have sort of personally taken the last Catherine over the last 3+ years, almost 4 years. I guess almost 4 years. Project for me as a project for me. What I mean by that is, what I mean by that is, I really wanted this person to test. Could this person do everything that I asked her to do to at least get her an opportunity to be here in front of you, asking what we're asking for? She exceeded my expectations. She exceeded my expectations. 90-day inpatient by doing the 90-day inpatient rehabilitation. While she was there, started to explore with her counselors and her therapists some of the underlying issues that went beyond just physical addiction, that actually have to do with her mental health and some of the things that she's experienced in her life. I'm not going to detail them on the record, but the court is aware of what those things are. Incredibly traumatic events. I think she had repressed and had never really addressed and explored. And so counselors recommended not just aftercare, but a specific outpatient some of the trauma issues to address some of the trauma issues that she's had. She went and checked into that program. Basically, stayed for basically a year. Did everything we asked her to do. And again, did everything we asked her to do. I told her to go get her own drug patch. I told her to go get her own drug patch. I told her to go get her own interlock device. She did all of that. Interlock device. She did all of that. Those records should be attached to the memo. She was successful. Has been following the rules, doing everything going to AA. Had been going to AA. Had gotten a counselor. Actually reached out and directed her to try to figure out what Dream Center to try to figure out what she could do next herself to sort of commit herself to fixing her sobriety and to fixing the mental health issues that I think stem from she challenges that she faced as a young person. She sometimes it's easy to look at one side of the ledger. It's easy to look at one side of the ledger, the rap sheet or the history, and think that criminal history, and think that defines this person. What I have been fortunate enough to do is to really dig down and get to understand her as a human, see that all the progress she's made, all the effort she's made, see what she's done well, and see what she's done well, and all the problems that she's been addressing. Obviously very anxious about this day. She's obviously very anxious about this day, but we've been looking forward to this day as well. To be able and I want to go down and present that on the bottom. And I want to go down and address on the bottom of page 2, address what I was talking about in the CSI stuff. Saying that this wasn't the words that came out of her mouth. Saying that this wasn't the words that came out of her mouth. She was asked by one of the examiners. She was asked by one of the examiners in the probation. She felt she needed treatment. She felt she needed treatment. She said she didn't feel like she needed treatment. I want to clarify what we mean by that. I say this. I want to clarify what we mean by that. I say this here, but what she would say, I think, is detox. She did 90 days of detox rehab. Has continued aftercare. Has continued aftercare. Has continued mental health. But in terms of going to a program that is specifically targeted at people who are currently using or currently intoxicated, I think she thought that was the direction that wasn't the direction. She will do whatever you want her to do. She will do whatever you want her to do. I wanted to explain what that comment means. There's a lot of times, as you know, Judge, programs will private rehabilitation programs will just reject you if you've been clean for as she has 3+ years, as she has. They just won't accept you at all. And so they just won't. I think that was just a misunderstanding. So I think that was just a misunderstanding or a miscommunication between the probation officer and nonetheless. But she's willing to do whatever the court. She's willing to do whatever the court chooses here. Additionally, we've been in contact with her. We've been in contact with her current parole. They are willing to. They are willing to. Instead of keep her on parole, instead of revoking on what the court does here, depending on what the court does here, and so that was encouraging as well. And so that was encouraging as well. I think they had the same kinds of conversations with them about her recovery and about her efforts. And so I think that was encouraging. And then finally, from the Judge, you see, and then finally, Judge, you see, we didn't want to focus too much on just support from the community, because again, this isn't just a run-of-the-mill case. This is a different focus. But she has a family. She is married. She has a family. Recognizes the impact that all of this has had on her family, her relationships. The strain it has put on both her husband, both financially, emotionally. Also, and she accepts responsibility for that. And she accepts responsibility for that. Court to and is asking the court to consider this extremely rare position that we're asking the court to take here. And she obviously, if the court would like her to address the court, she is happy to do that.
Okay,
not sure how
thank
you
you.
proceed.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Molfino?
Judge, I don't envy the position that the court is in. I do take very seriously the comments of Mr. Burns. I take him at his word for that, and I hope that all of those things are true. It's difficult for me as a representative of Jefferson County and the state and the citizens that were on the roads every day to stand up and say I agree with probation, but I don't disagree with the things that Mr. Gertz has said and the information that is in his sentencing.
To play the other side of the coin,
does it suggest that she received the benefit of the doubt already by waiving the habitual status that she could have been facing based on her number of priors? Does it seem
that I can say
in good conscience that I can say I ignore all of those priors? Absolutely not. But
we have seen
that her multiple trips to the penitentiary have resulted in no change of behavior until hopefully now in these last 3 years. I do sympathize with Ms. Welch as an individual.
For me, as
again, it's hard for me as an assistant district attorney, assistant district attorney to say that I concur with the punishment. I don't, being probation, but I don't, again, disagree with the comments that Mr. Gertz has. We've had multiple conversations about this case. I know he's worked very diligently at it. I don't really know Judge, and that's why it's before you, that putting her in prison for 20 years and her getting out in versus an extensive probation period where she can continue the recovery she's been doing is a better option. But again, I don't know what is in the best interest of public safety. Unfortunately, none of us do. So I would defer to the court's wisdom on whatever law you think is appropriate based on the
All right,
volume.
thank you. Anything else?
All right, thank you.
Anything else?
Would you like to say something, Judge?
Your Honor, I just want to say that, the past was fueled by drugs and alcohol. Complete responsibility. I take complete responsibility. I did not know from very young when things that happened in my life, that it could have been, some of it could have been treated stopped earlier if I had gotten mental health help for my mental health. After I received the CWI, that helped me get myself that I could go into a treatment program. I could go into a treatment program. Deal with some of those past traumas. I medicated. In the past, I didn't. I medicated and drank to just forget about the pain. Myself out. I didn't know how just numb myself out. I didn't know how else to deal with that. And when I got on my mental health meds, I had bipolar. I had bipolar and PTSD, and my mind back then was very chaotic. I just want to say, after I had my mental health meds to go through, I was able to go through treatment at Santa Maria in that place, Houston, and that place saved my life. Really saved my life. 90-day extensive 90-day treatment with trauma counselors. There was a trauma community there. Informed community there. Also, when I completed that, program, but I still lived on their facility. I went to the sex trafficking and recovery program, and I was in that for about 8 months. Where I got the state paid for the counseling. The state paid for the counseling for trauma still, and I just worked really hard in that. I got a job while I was in there. And once that program was over, I moved to a sober living facility in Oxford House in spring, and I worked there. I felt like I was strong enough to come home and do what I needed to do. And the complete program for around here. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous today. And I know that my past record is like Brian said, atrocious. But you know, the things that I had to deal with within myself from when I was a little girl. Those are things that you don't go to prison. Even in their programs there that you don't talk about. It's just, and you just don't. And do not send me. I'm asking you, please do not send me back to prison. I want to move forward. I have moved forward in my life. And this year that I've been in jail has given me more time to think. And know that I am definitely headed in the right direction. I have a sponsor. I attend AA. At home, moved all of my life as far as I could. I knew with my sobriety. I knew the charge was out there, and I think I made some good, really good choices with my mid-county AA friends. They've helped me a lot, and I am open to anything. I will abide by the rules. And and do anything that's asked of me. Do anything that's asked of me. I know and I think that, I know now that I'm responsible and capable of taking care of my life, my business, and my life.
Thank you.
So, Ms.
Thank you.
Welch, Ms.
Ms.
Welch
probably said it yet.
Ms. Malfino probably said it
I
yet
get this
best.
often.
And
I get this often, and they don't
envy my position, and this is
envy my
the worst part
position,
of my job.
and this is
the worst part of my
but
job.
I worked hard to get here,
but
and it's my job.
I worked hard to get here,
and it's
part
my
of my
job.
job. Part of my
It's several
job,
things, and it's to
several
to
things,
look at,
and it's
you know,
it's
obviously
to look at,
defendants
you know,
and
obviously
given chances
defendants
and things like that,
given
but it
chances
also
and things like that.
is
But
about
it
making our
also
community safe.
is about making our
And
community
I have
safe.
to look back.
And I have to look back. This is your
DWI.
10th.
It's not your
DWI.
fifth.
It's not your fifth.
Eighth.
It's not your
the 10th.
eighth. It's the
And
10th.
while I understand the trauma that you went through,
the trauma that you went through,
you've been to safe P 3 times.
You've been to safe P 3 times.
You've been given opportunities on
You've
probation.
been
where they
given
were
opportunities on probation where
You've
they
had
were
opportunities
revoked.
while you were on parole.
You've had opportunities
to
while you were on parole.
do what you have done
to
now.
Do what you
And
have done now.
while I appreciate what you've done, and I think
while
that's
I
great.
appreciate what you've done, and I think that's
my
great.
goal isn't
and
to,
my goal
to stop
isn't
any
to
improvement, but
to
I
stop
don't-
any improvement,
I
but
can't,
I don't.
in my opinion.
I can't, in my opinion.
In good faith, go home tonight,
in
look
good
myself
faith,
in the mirror,
go
and say
home
I gave
tonight, look
somebody
myself in
on
the
their
mirror,
10th
and say I gave somebody on their 10th
DWI. That your last
DWI,
sentence
that your
was for
last
15
sentence
years in prison.
was for 15
The one
years
before
in
that
prison.
was for 10.
The one before
The
that
one
was
before
for
that,
10.
you've gone to
the one before that,
another
you've
10
gone to
year, back in 09.
another
I mean,
10 year,
this
back
goes
in
back
09.
to
I
the
mean,
90s.
this goes back
You
to
got
the
a
90s.
10-year sentence in
You got a
2011.
10-year sentence
While
in
you're on parole for
2011.
that one, you get
While
another
you're on
one, so
parole
they
for
give you
that one,
15
you get
years.
another one, so they give
And
you
you get out
15
and you're on
years.
parole, and
And
you
you
do
get
it
out and
again.
you're on
The
parole
fact
and
is,
you do
we're
it
just lucky
again.
that you haven't
The
killed
fact is,
someone
we're
in
just
our
lucky that
community
you haven't killed someone
9
in our
times
community.
over.
9 times
Being given
over.
opportunities. I just
Being
can't
given
do it.
opportunities. I just can't do it.
I'm going to find that you entered your plea of guilty
I'm going to
freely
find that
and
you entered your plea of
voluntarily.
guilty
I'm going to
freely
find,
and voluntarily.
and
I'm going
your
to
plea of
find
true,
to
the
and your
prior
plea of
offense.
true to the
I'm going to
prior
find
offense.
sufficient
I'm
evidence
going
to find you guilty, and at this
sufficient
time
evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of driving while intoxicated.
Going to sentence you to a term of 18
Going to
years in
sentence
the
you to a term of
institutional
18
division of the
years in
Texas
the
Department of
institutional
Corrections.
division of the Texas
You will
Department
receive
of
credit on that
Corrections.
sentence.
You will receive credit
For
on
any
that
time
sentence.
that you've been in custody, that the
For
law
any
gives you
time
the
that you've
right
been
to
in custody,
receive.
that the law gives you the
You're going
right
to be
to
handed a
receive.
trial court certification.
You're going to be
that shows
handed a
this was
trial
not-
court certification that
Well,
shows
I
this
guess
was
there
not.
was an agreement.
Well, I guess there was an
the
agreement
waiver of the
because
enhancement, which
the
could have been a
waiver of the
25 to life, as
enhancement,
Mr.
which could have been a
Gertz said.
25 to life, as
So I'm
Mr.
going to hand
Gertz
you the
said.
certification that
So
shows this
I'm
was
going to
an
hand you the
agreement.
certification that
You've
shows this
waived your
was
right
an
to
agreement.
appeal.
You've
I'm
waived
also
your right to
handing you
appeal.
a written
I'm
admonishment
also
regarding
handing
your
you a written
ineligibility to
admonishment
possess a
regarding your
firearm or
ineligibility to
ammunition.
possess a firearm
Possession,
or
because of the
ammunition.
judgment entered against you, you're
Because of the
ineligible
judgment
under
entered
Texas
against
law to
you, you're
possess a
ineligible under
firearm or
Texas law to
ammunition.
possess a
Possession of
firearm
a
or
firearm or
ammunition.
ammunition could lead to
Possession of a
charges against
firearm or
you. You
ammunition
should read
could
the
lead to
written
charges against you.
admonishment I
You should read the written
provide you.
admonishment I
If you have any
provide you.
questions about that, you can talk
If
to
you have any
Mr.
questions
Gertz. And
about
Mr.
that,
Ms.
you can
Welch, I
talk to
take
Mr. Gertz.
no
And Mr.
pleasure
Ms.
in
Welch,
this.
I
This
take
is
no
extremely
pleasure in this.
difficult
This is
for me.
extremely difficult for
I
me.
understand to some
I understand
extent addiction.
to some extent addiction.
I understand that you are on a better
understand
path.
that you are on a better path.
There have been plenty of
However,
opportunities in the past
there have been
where
plenty
you
of
were on a better
opportunities in the
path and you
past
got
where
back
you were
out
on a
and you
better
got back
path
on our
and you
roads
got back
again.
out
And
and you
so,
got back on
good
our
luck
roads
to you, ma'am.
again.
Thank you, Mr.
And so,
Gertz and
good
Ms.
luck to you, ma'am.
Malfino.
Thank you,
Court will
Mr.
be
Gertz
adjourned.
and Ms. Malfino. Court will be adjourned.
And there it is. After years of struggle, the courtroom reminds us that choices have consequences. Catherine Welch has walked a path of recovery, yet the law measures not just intent, but history. In the end, this moment is about accountability, about the weight of past decisions, and the reminder that even the strongest human spirit faces limits. What does justice truly mean when redemption and responsibility collide?